It's time for Gardening Inside Out, a live show offering you plant advice for any space in your life. Introducing your perennial hosts, David Bates and Josh Carey.
That's not Josh Carey. Hey, that's Adam Chapman.
Oh, my Lord.
But I am David Bates, and welcome in, everyone. We're glad to have you on board today to Gardening Inside Out, where we're going to talk about gardening, well, I guess, inside and out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And this is a great time to be outside, in particular because the weather's wonderful, and we've got a forecast that I think will please you, at least in some regard. If you like nice weather, it should make you happy. And if you look across our screen there, you will see nothing but sunshine all the way across. A little warmer here today and tomorrow. 88 today, 90 tomorrow, and then we cool back down to the 70s. Thereafter, glorious autumn, October weather. It is.
Do I spy lows in the 40s?
You spy such. Matter of fact, we've had some here in the last here at the nursery. Now, it's not at all unusual for us to go compared to in town as much as 10 degrees cooler.
Yes.
But it's consistently 5 degrees. Mm-hmm. So we've seen some of that already. But it's been a nice little transition. This past week has given all that moisture that we got last weekend a chance to
soak in.
Yes, yeah. Again, our thoughts are with the folks that are east of us, East Tennessee, Western North Carolina, and south of there. That devastation is not going away anytime soon, and so there's a lot of help going to be needed for an extended period of time. Let me look at the radar here and kind of give you an idea of, well, all the precip is down here. This is the next thing that could be a tropical system, could be has possibilities, could make it to a hurricane. They're predicting it to kind of go back over here into central Florida, maybe south of Tampa. But you see nothing up here. That's as nothing as nothing can be off the coast, and whether it's in the Gulf or along the eastern U.S., there's just not a thing out there. And we've had 0.07 of an inch of rain this week, which is not quite zero, but it's dangerously close to it. And we're in the 60s here right now. So it's about 65 degrees here, live from the green room in Nashville, Tennessee, Bates Nursery and Garden Center. We're glad to have you in today. And we're going to talk about, Mr. Chapman, we're going to talk about all things
plant-related, horticulture,
unless other things arise, and you never know.
Never know.
We can get lost in the weeds every now and again.
We can.
So we're going to talk about that, and we have not just yourself and me, which we can rock along okay, but we don't. It's not limited to just us.
No.
Glad to have Caroline Gant back alive, healthy, in studio today.
I'm alive.
Welcome back.
Yes.
And, of course, the ever knowledgeable Austin Lowen. Welcome in, guys. Glad to have you today.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And you know what? One of my greatest pleasures as an employer is getting to brag on my people in the presence of their guests, of the people who are kind enough to do business with us. And we are blessed to have great staff. We're also blessed to have some incredible customers. And we really work hard at trying to have all the things that people wish they could find. And once they figure out that they don't have to drive around trying to find it, they could just come here and get it.
Just come here.
Mm-hmm. We've got that, and we can help you figure out if you've got issues going on with it, how to work through that. And that's where the questions come in. And I bet you we've got several this morning, Caroline. But what you guys got on your mind before we get into that? So how close to death's door were you last week, Caroline?
Very close. Slept for 2 days.
I've never known you to ever be sick. You've never, I don't think you've ever missed a day of work before. And it was like silence.
I don't get sick often, but yeah, I don't think I've ever slept that long before.
Yeah.
But I got better quicker, so now I get to be here today.
Well, that's kind of what my body does. It just says stop.
Yeah, shut down.
Just don't do anything. Just rest and drink water. And so anyway, glad
to be back.
Glad you have mended sufficiently.
Well, thank you. And Adam, you did a great job last week.
Thank you.
And you're going to do a great job this week, too.
That's yet to be
just
seen.
know
But
I love how Adam pops around the table.
Adam's just always
just
available.
never know.
He's
Yep.
a utility guy.
He's always ready. He said, here we go.
Sure.
I mean, there
Whatever
was
you need
one
me to
time,
do.
very last minute. I would say within 5 minutes, he just hopped on the show.
Yep.
And did great. You never would have known.
And the thing of it is, since we essentially spend our professional lives answering questions all day long, and we don't know what question we're getting ready to be asked, this is just a more studio version of that same thing. Yeah, it's not like it's all that different. It's just
climate controlled in here, which I guess is
That's
kind of
nice.
different.
Yeah, it's consistently illuminated, and it's the right temperature. So anyway, we're glad to be here today, and I'll bet you there are questions out there that people have on their gardening minds.
Oh, there are. But before we get to questions, I do want to talk about something that we've been working on for the last couple of weeks. So Tyler designed it, myself, Tyler, and Melissa, who's one of our cashiers up front.
Absolutely.
We did a Bates painting, a Bates sign on one of our doors. It's the original Bates sign, or one of the older ones that used to hang on the garden center wall that Tyler took. He was able to project it on the wall, so we painted it. And in front of that painting, we have a spooky Halloween photo booth.
Do you have that going to put up for us, Tyler?
Yes, I'll get that queued up. Thanks, Caroline, for letting me know.
She's trying to stretch.
Sorry, I was thinking that I was like, we could talk about that.
If Tyler had free hands, he'd be doing this. Keep talking.
Go on, Caroline. Keep talking.
And what's really cool about it is, especially for me, it is a old throwback logo from back in the day when my dad was still living, and it was the old Bates logo we used to use, and the tagline, as it were, back in the day. So it's a really great backdrop for the setting of the Halloween photo booth opportunity.
The Halloween photo booth. So
I would imagine that it'll be a Christmas.
it will turn into holiday after Halloween, but with the Halloween through the 31st. We are running a kind of a photo booth. It's not a competition, but when you come out, if you'd like to get your photo in it, feel free to bring your pets. You can dress up. But if you do come out and take a photo, if you want to enter the contest to win a Bates gift card, you'll have 3 chances. Just post that photo you took in the photo booth. Make sure you follow and tag both Gardening Inside Out and the Bates Instagram accounts. And that'll enter you into a random drawing. Yes, there we are. So there's the Bates sign. Oh, we made it so spooky. We've got a Bates Motel neon sign in there.
I have one in my house. I've got to get it in the window.
It's time. It's already October.
Try to get it done by the beginning of the month. I love Lauren. There is she.
Yep, it's a nice
She's pumpkin voguing.
She is caught off guard, obviously. Not. So,
but that is set up just outside of checkout. So, I mean, you can also just come take a picture in it. You don't have to post it online or enter to win a gift card. But, just a little fun Halloween thing.
In the springtime, it's where checkout 7 and 8 would be.
Correct.
That we are seasonal for us. So we don't use them this time of year because we're not that busy. We don't need that many checkouts. So they're just out there, and then they'll be right beside the new covered awning that's
almost covered.
Its way.
It's not covered. The awning is there. You can go, okay, I can see where it's going to be. It's not there yet. So we're still trying to wind up our projects for the, I guess it was summer 2024. This time last year, we were still paving
the parking lot.
We
were getting close, but
I still have
nightmares.
Oh my
flashbacks.
I was really close to not surviving that one. I think that was my body rejecting physical labor anymore. It was as much. It was just I can't do that anymore. So anyway, we'll. Thank you for enduring this little bit of banter here. And I know we got a lot of questions.
Yes, we do. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to start with a rhododendron question. My rhododendrons are spindly and overgrown. Wow, mine are still small and not happy. Can I cut them back severely to promote fuller growth?
You can. Right now, though, you're gonna cut off any buds that it's gonna have.
And the buds are easy to identify.
They're
by
huge.
the way. I mean, you can't miss them. Those are not growth buds. Those are flower buds. If they're big, they're probably about at least the size of the end of your finger. I mean, they're a good size bud. And like you said, won't kill them. It won't hurt them. But they will not flower this coming spring if you do that.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to sacrifice a bloom season, okay? If you need to get it back in check and shorter, if it's too big, that's just part of it. But if you could wait until it blooms in the spring and then right after that you shorten dramatically, then you'll see a bust of new growth.
Which is what you should have done this past spring.
Yeah, probably.
Even if they didn't bloom, just after they get ready to start to push out new growth. If you can cut them back then you don't lose all that energy that's being spent. A lot of my biggest gripe with individuals is wasting that opportunity and not getting things trimmed and
at the right time.
You got to do it before it appears you need to do it in order to maximize all that growth. Otherwise, you're spending energy that's just gone until next year.
Prune after bloom, right? Is that
right.
one of the rules of thumb?
With rhododendron, definitely, yeah.
Yeah. And azaleas.
Yep. A lot of those.
Probably a lot of other things, too.
A lot of those early spring bloomers.
Well, blueberries are the same. Blueberries bloom on old growth, typically. I mean, there's some that bloom on both, but so same way, same thing.
All right. We got a live question in from Kyle on our Facebook page. Kyle says, hi, just had a large walnut tree cut down. I've heard their roots can kill things growing near them. Would it be okay to plant a dogwood tree close to where the walnut tree was?
I would say no.
I don't think so either. You can look up a list online easily about, juglone resistant plants. And
Juglone. Juglone,
And I don't...
And it stays persistent. It's in those roots.
It is for a long time.
Yeah, so, it's actually more concentrated in the roots than a lot of other parts.
A lot of things, and dogwoods are specifically well known to kind of be slow to take anyway. People have a lot of issues with when planting, especially a young small dogwood.
Just don't do anything to stack the deck against yourself more than it already is.
I know. I might think of a different option than dogwood for that spot, and we've got options, y'all. We got trees like crazy.
You talked about viburnum not too long ago.
Yeah, I've got a viburnum underneath a walnut tree that's currently living, like it's literally shading it. So, I mean, I know that one's resistant to it. And there's a lot of different plants that are. I don't think dogwood is one of them.
I don't think so.
I think it'll stress in that scenario.
Now, you might consider getting a big industrial strength stump grinder out there and not just grind the stump out, but follow the roots out as deep and as far out as you can. And then, and this is the most important part, regardless of what the professional who's taking that out would tell you, you must remove all of that material, all of the chippings. It's got dirt and all. You even if it's not, if you're having a stump ground out, even if it's not a walnut, don't ever leave that in there. You can. There's probably places in the woodland area behind your house or something that it could be used. But if you're trying to grow anything else right there, be it turf or a tree, you need to put soil back in there.
Yes.
And if you do that, you statistically help yourself a whole lot.
Yes, increase your odds of success.
Yep.
That's what we want to do. Right, we got another live question in from Deborah. Good morning, Deborah.
Deborah.
Hey, Deborah. Peewee hydrangea tree blooms up very heavily. Blooms bend over and it suckers growth straight up. Anything I can do to keep this from happening? Shrub in ground probably 25 years.
Wow.
You know how to do this.
Get those.
Austin is all on this.
Your mom knows how to do this because we've seen in action at her house.
Yeah. No, we have.
Yeah. So when it comes to sucker growth, though, I mean, I don't have a great way of preventing sucker growth. I've had this question a lot. Crepe myrtles do it.
Yep.
A number of things do it. But I don't know a way to prevent that. I do know how to get rid of it.
Yep.
Chop it.
Yep.
Just take it. Right at the soil level. Like, just if they come up, you just prune them away. I mean, it's just part of it. It's plant maintenance, y'all. It's what we have to do.
And the hydrangeas are the kind of plant that if you fail to cut them back severely, you're going to get a fewer number of larger flowers that are going to be naturally heavier when they get loaded down with rain. That's going to make them hang down. So if you want to get a more lasting and even canopy, cut them back, increase your bloom count, which decreases the size, and also the stems that those blooms are on are better able to handle that weight because it's better distributed. So if you do those things, they'll stand up nice and full. Even after a thunderstorm, the ones at my house, we have Annabelle's there. It does not break them down, but we cut them back almost to the ground every year.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Deborah, I want to see a picture of this. I'll show you where to cut it. I didn't notice it earlier. It said it's the plant is bent over. Okay, so that means yes, it's gotten too leggy on you. We need to take it back. So
you trim them almost the same way you trim a Bradford pear. A Bradford pear is at ground level.
At ground level.
These are a little
slightly above. Yeah,
But a
slightly
Bradford
above.
pear, you trim them at
the ground. Yes.
yeah.
You didn't
Below
talk
if
about
you
how
can.
you do your spring tip pruning to make things stand more upright.
I do like that too. That's a little bit more involved.
I
So,
thought you were going to talk about that.
well, I could.
That might be between him and Deborah.
Oh, well,
me
then
and
never
Deb.
mind, Tyler.
Well, what she is talking about is a shorten over the winter time, like David and we've all been talking about, and that's really severely shortening it. But then once it does leaf in the spring and sends up new stems, those stems will be very vigorous and they will really shoot. So if they get up, once they shoot, say, I don't know, a foot or so, tip prune those as well. And then you'll get more branching. You'll get a whole lot more flowers, but they'll be much smaller and they won't flop as bad.
And
That's my tip.
They could well be a bit later also.
Exactly. They will be later,
Correct.
usually about 2 weeks later.
I did that, and it worked wonders. I have two limelights side by side. I did it to one and didn't do it to the other. The other one, this was 2 years ago, was just flopping all over the place. And the one I tip pruned, again, bloomed a little bit later. And it was, I might have had like 3 stems that were flopping.
Floppers.
The rest were just straight up and more blooms. It's great.
I think
I
it's a
just
good
wanted
tip.
you to tell all of our viewers all about that. It's been a while since you mentioned it. All right, let's go ahead and get to our next question. What is best to plant right now? I'm in dire need of some shrubbery in my front yard.
Well,
Well,
Dire need.
Just
Shrubbery.
about everything we got, actually.
Yeah.
Just about.
pretty much. We'll let you know, like, if
yeah.
it's not as cold hardy, maybe something you should plant in the spring rather than the fall. But for the most part, fall is the time to plant, y'all.
Yeah.
And if you need shrubbery, I
We
think
got it.
this is
We got
the
it.
place to come.
Yeah, bring photographs if you've got
Yes.
your smartphone or a tablet. Just bring those images with you. General information as to which direction your house faces and what large, if you've got big trees that provide shade, that kind of thing. All that is, and in general information, what the windows are about waist high or about how far the sidewalk is from the house. Not to the inch, just close. And that'll help us to make suggestions to you that'll help you to make choices that look most appealing to you. And the best thing about doing a landscape project like that at your own house is that you get to be the judge of what looks good and what's not. And you probably have already looked at what the neighbors have done and maybe you want it to be different.
Well,
or maybe
Exactly.
you're a copycat and you want exactly
same
what
thing.
maybe.
Well, I think you just nailed it. Like, that's the greatest thing about Bates Nursery is that you can come out here and, you show us a spot and we in our heads think, okay, there's probably 15 to 20 different options for this spot.
Yeah.
But then we walk you around and you tell us what you like and we'll let you know if it'll work in that spot. And that's what's cool. We could draw up a landscape plan for you with plants that we like. Are you going to like those once we put it in? I don't know. But if you walk around with us and you show us the spot and you say, this is what I kind of like the look of that. And we're like, that'll work, So that's what's cool. We got so many options and there's so many things you could use in so many different scenarios.
But
So
the one thing I think that where we excel is that even though we've got enough options to confuse you,
that's true.
we can pare the list down rather quickly
Yes.
through a process of elimination and ask you a few questions to help you get a list of 16 down to just 2 choices.
Exactly.
And that way you go, oh, do you like this one better or that one? I like that one. There's your choice.
That's
so,
right.
it really is not all that complicated, and we're here to help you get all the way through it.
We are.
Yes, we are. Then Donna, we got a live comment. Says,
Donna.
do more houseplant stories. Y'all are so much fun to watch. Thanks, Donna.
thank
We will
you.
get some more houseplants
you.
on the internet. We are going to start doing trying to do weekly houseplant walkthroughs. We've had a couple requests from people that drive like an hour and, they just want to see what we have before coming out. Because some weeks we don't get houseplant shipments. I mean, most we do. So Tyler and I are working on doing a little walkthrough just to see what's going on in the greenhouse and what we have currently received.
That is right. And, when you're taking that walk around in the greenhouse with Caroline or perhaps Sarah or someone else, you're going to notice the absence of one thing in particular, fungus gnats.
It's very true.
Mm-hmm. And that happens as a result of peat. Now, sometimes we get plants in that have been grown in peat, but anything that we have transplanted or growing ourselves, and certainly what we are recommending to others, is the use of Earth Mix Proganics I. And what makes that resistant to fungus gnats is the fact that it has no peat in it. Not only does it not have peat, neither does any of the other Earth Mix garden products. And Adam and I have worked and continue to work shoulder to shoulder on developing these products and tweaking them to assure that you've got choices for your specific landscape purposes that are going to give you optimal results. The names frequently give you an indication of what you might use them for.
Yeah, we try to.
Earth Mix Garden is, it could be used for your garden.
Vegetable garden, any shrubs, trees.
And the good thing about it is it actually has topsoil in it.
Yep.
So it is a great, if you're trying to get some more dense material in the spot, it's great for that. Proganics O is the outdoor version of our container mixes, and if you've got big planters outside, that's a good choice. Landscape, that's a product that is widely available and probably I would say it's our best product. As
far as transplanting and just planting almost anything, it's great.
And the good thing about it is all these products are not just 100% organic. They are also the most viable and productive soils and amendments that you can get anywhere. And many of these products have our Earth Mix Supernatural as one of the base components, and we do a lot of work on our composting method is a bit different than what others do, is that we do it by a very strict recipe, like your mom's lasagna. It doesn't deviate. We have exactly the same amount of the exact same ingredients in every batch, and then we add the special sauces to it, endo and ectomycorrhiza fungi, humic acid. We add elemental sulfur to it. All the things that give it the consistent results that you want throughout the Earth Mix line is available in Earth Mix Garden products, and it's available over quite a large area. You can go to the Find Earth Mix tab right at earthmix.net, and you'll notice there's a whole bunch over on the right side of the screen, like over at Wallace's Nursery and Garden Center in Louisville. Then you can go over here to Victory Gardens. They're way out there in Meridian, Idaho, and a whole bunch from northern Alabama to western North Carolina and throughout the state of Tennessee and Kentucky. You can find Earth Mix many locations. Simply go to the search box up here and type in your address or zoom in for turn-by-turn directions to the location nearest you. Just remember this: success in gardening begins at the ground level when you use Earth Mix garden products. And we appreciate you giving us a moment to talk about that and help take the work out of your gardening efforts and increase your success dramatically. So check it out all over the area, Earth Mix.
You were talking about landscape being like one of our best products, and like it is, and it's such a good product for a container. Since I've worked here the past 8 years, I have used nothing but landscape for my containerized plants that I have. My mixed containers out front, anything that I grow in pots, I use landscape. I love it. I think it's so good. Now, our Proganics Outdoor is awesome, too. It's just that landscape's a little bit cheaper, so I use that one. And that's what it is. That's what it's all about. It's still an extremely good container product.
Yeah, I use it as well.
And it is a bit lighter.
It is.
The Proganics O does actually have some soil in it as well. So if you have issues with keeping things watered properly, as in not being able to keep them wet enough, that would be your better choice. If you're looking to increase percolation and flow of the water through the media that you're growing in, landscape would be the best.
It is. It's awesome. It is.
So, all right.
Keep stuff blooming.
It's awesome. Yeah. What else is awesome?
Tyler.
What What's Sorry.
in bloom?
With Austin.
Thanks, Tyler.
Yeah.
You're great. Love you.
Yeah.
He almost pushed the wrong button, though. I saw him.
All right, y'all. We don't
What's?
have just a crazy amount of stuff blooming. This has been a theme the past couple weeks. We still got a few things going, though, that I talked about last week. Let's talk about that Keystone. That Keystone plant, Caroline, you're all about it. Goldenrod, still in bloom. Like, y'all, it's been, 3 weeks now at least that's been in bloom?
Oh, longer. It makes a great cut flower, too.
It does. It does. It's a good plant. Hey, your asters, the common fall blooming plant, asters are in bloom. Your mums are in bloom, and specifically the Sheffield pink. Y'all, Sheffield, like a lot of the mums we sell right now are in bloom, of course, but like the Sheffield pink is a perennial mum that comes back every year, turns into a massive thing. This soft pink, dainty blooms. Like Sheffield pink is an awesome plant to be growing. Y'all should be growing it. It is super cool. Grasses, shout out Bridge. They're still going, looking great. We decorated the whole studio today in grasses because, hey, here at Base Nursery, we got 30% off all grasses. So we did that. All this grasses, all of it. Yeah. Hey, Adam, Abelia, it's still blooming. You know,
it is.
But it does. Rose of Sharon still going. Crepe Myrtle still going, but barely. Okay, so those are the ones from last week. And then I decided to write down some kind of weird ones. Now, they're not like super weird or anything, but like kind of weird for this time of year. Shout out Caroline's mom, Cher. Your rhododendron is blooming for some reason. I saw a picture last night.
Blast
bloom. A blast bloom. It's a random mimic spring, fall thing, and rhododendron will do that sometimes. So, Sherry, good for you. Your rhododendron's blooming, and it looks great.
It
does. Encore azaleas, if they have enough sun, those are reblooming this time of year. Yes, they are. Hey, Dipladenia. That's a random tropical annual, but I noticed around town yesterday as I was driving home looking at things that were in bloom, I saw a lot of Dipladenia. It's like kind of a flowering vine that's cool. Yeah, most of them like soft pink.
Yeah. I think Tyler has one, doesn't he?
Tyler has one. Yeah. Of course he does.
Of course
he loves his tropicals.
Yeah.
Tyler does love his tropicals.
You know what else is going? Your catmint that you cut back and now it's reflushed.
After all the rain, it's just blooming again.
Blooming again. That's what catmint does, but you got to cut it, y'all. Got to cut it. Hey, some of the annuals that we all love. I love petunias. Y'all do too. They're still blooming. Impatiens look good for the shade. That's cool. Coleus is a foliage plant for the most part. Like tons of, literally, 100 different colors you could get in Coleus. Probably
so
more.
Many.
Probably more.
Love Coleus.
But they're in bloom right now. And whenever they bloom like almost a true blue. Like not all of them, but a lot of them are like a blue. Which we don't get blue in the plant world all that much, but they kind of are. So that's cool. They're in bloom. Hey, Vinca's still going. I saw it this morning. Full sun Vinca. It's great. Yucca is random. It's weird. Why is Yucca blooming? But it is. They're throwing some blooms. And then the very last one that's the weirdest because it's at Tyler's house is a pink guava. What do I know about pink guava?
Barbie
Nothing.
pink guava.
Barbie pink guava. Look at that little bloom.
Yeah.
Oh, I could just imagine a bee just like laying on top of that.
Sleeping right there, taking a little nap.
But that's at Tyler's house, and that's what's in bloom. Tyler, great job. Pink guava.
Yeah.
Random.
In the
Weird.
Yep. I try and grow citrus and tropical fruit.
Yeah, you do.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, there you have it.
There you have it. There it is. Well, let's go ahead and get into a picture. You might have talked about impatiens still blooming, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Yep. All right,
Just now.
so Lee said, tell Austin that my impatiens are still leafy and beefy. How much longer will
Lee.
they last? Look at that.
Oh.
Stunning.
Oh, it kills me. Wait.
That'll last until the first
First frost.
Pretty much.
It'll
They'll
be
turn to mush, Lee.
liquid.
You know what, Lee? I hate to tell you. Oh, we got to tell them. We got to tell them the business. David, you know what I'm about to say.
Yep.
If you don't get rid of those now, Lee, you ain't going to have time for the pansies, man.
Oh, Lee.
Lee. No, I ain't going to break his heart this early. All right, we still have
You just did. You just said it.
No, I'm taking it back.
You can't live.
We've got like thousands of pansies still, okay? So you got some time. But Lee, if you don't get those out before first frost, then you're going to be late to the game with the pansies, man.
Lee.
Yep.
But you did great. You're doing great. You're killing it, man. Look at those.
That looks stunning. And it's always hard to pull up plants, even though when
So
you know it's
hard.
like
You know,
right at the end and it's the right time. But
One of the things we do that helps soften the blow a little bit is to offer some free used containers, nursery containers that you can dig out your flowers and put them in there and
That's what
set
I'm
them
saying.
around and give them as gifts. And, that way You detach slowly. You don't feel. It doesn't feel so abrupt.
It's kind of you're kind of sending them off to a
better place.
Yes, that's where they live out their last days.
That's right.
That's right.
That's a great point.
I tried to do that with my pansies, and I did it, and then just left them, and then they died right there. So then I had to throw it away.
Well, because then you get obsessed with the fresh that you put in.
Right.
There,
I put fresh things in. I was like, oh my gosh, they look so great. Why am I going to take care of these pansies now?
But yeah, Lee, what you could do, like David just said, take those impatiens out, put them in another pot, enjoy them till frost, and then you come out here, get them tulips, drop the tulips in the bottom of that, plant the pansies on top of it. Next spring, you're going to love me, Lee, and you'll send another picture.
I think Lee already loves you.
I love Lee.
But you will not love him until then.
No.
That's right. Not until the
that
tulips
moment.
are up in bloom.
All right, speaking of pansies and such, we got a comment on the Facebook page from Helen. The pansies I've gotten from Bates proven not only lovely in color, but also hardy. Now I'm thinking about planting some in one of my backyard raised beds for fall, winter color. What other flowering plants do you have that I might include that are on par with the pansies?
You know, and one thing we need to mention while we got the word pansy out there, and it doesn't apply to her because she's not a pansy, but Jane does a great job down in the annual section. So when you're down there, that's down in Jane's world, and she has quite the selection. And we were discussing yesterday, and she says, there's an awful lot down here, and I go,
It's okay. It's just the beginning of October.
That's right.
That's right.
People, as we've just seen, most folks still have their summer annuals in. So
anyways, give a shout out to Jane when you go down to the greenhouse. Great lady.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
wonderful. Love
We
Jane.
all love Jane.
there's not much other than that. I mean,
Violas,
asters-
but it's pretty much the same thing.
Violas are, they're kind of the same. Actually,
Just
violas
smaller,
are
hardier.
tougher.
Yeah.
Tougher.
They're the original.
Yeah, mine in my containers, I did violas last year. I mean, they gave me blooms all winter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They were
The only difference
fantastic.
the only difference with violas is just it's smaller blooms, but a lot more of them.
They are a bit more winter hardy, so they will not get knocked down in a 20-degree freeze like pansies will. Typically, they'll be resilient. They'll start flowering a little more quickly. Just that little bit of incentive.
Now, you could do more foliage rather than blooms, and I don't know how much sun you have, but I talk about it all the time. I do heuchera in containers over the winter. Watermelon Carnival is my favorite, and that one I found really holds its color through the winter, and actually I think is happier in the cold.
I mean, you know what I think about heuchera is over the wintertime is that it can be a full sun plant in the winter.
Yeah.
Okay?
Sure.
Like, in the summer, spring and summer, no. Like, heuchera wants some shade, especially in the afternoon. But if you're using it as a mixed container or something, like if you want to put that in the full sun in the winter, it's okay.
And hellebore is the same way.
Hellebore, same way, yeah. Cast iron plant I use as just green foliage that stays up. It's a good plant for mixed containers. But Adam, you're right. Like, there's not a lot of like flower power for the wintertime besides pansies and violas.
No, there's not.
I mean, I can't really think of hardly anything.
Textures,
winter, no.
Textures of foliage and the colors of foliage is where it, and interesting stems.
Yes.
Berries too. Winterberry holly.
Yes.
Winterberry, huh? Yep, that's a shrub.
It is.
I wouldn't put one.
And your gold twig and red twig dogwoods, of course, are quite
Oh, yeah.
quite
Oh,
decorative. in the
great
winter.
to stick something. Like, if you need to do some pruning on those, sticking a few of them red or yellow sticks in a vase with it's
Oh, yeah.
fantastic.
You need to have a few in your landscape just for that purpose.
Seriously. It's great to add in.
Definitely.
Austin, what about that burying like wintergreen? What was that plant that we get sometimes with the
Oh,
big
yeah, we
red?
get that. What's it called?
It's called wintergreen.
Wintergreen,
And the berries
It tastes like
are
that.
edible.
I hate them.
And they're, guess what? Green in the winter.
Correct. They
Wow,
are.
how did I
very
how did I
cold-hardy.
deduce that?
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
they're actually really too cold hardy here. They don't like our summers. They
Oh,
really
no.
don't.
Yeah.
But they'll be good in the winter.
Oh, sure, they'll be great in the winter.
What is that genus? Like Galthera or something?
I think so.
Well, you think
Galtharian.
about that. I'm gonna bring up Emily's comment on the Facebook page. Good morning,
Emily. Hey,
Always great to see you out here.
Yes. She
Emily
can't
says
help it.
the Bates team is great. Came by to buy violas this week. Left with violas and another Japanese maple.
Yeah, you did. I
and
talked
a
to you.
few other things. Thanks to Austin, Ryan, and Caroline.
Yep, I talked to you, Emily. Good to see you.
Yeah.
And I saw that maple you bought. You can't help yourself. You even said it. She even said she even threatened to stop watching the show because she makes her come out
Makes
here
her
and
buy
buy
up
stuff.
too many things. But we love seeing you out here,
We
Emily.
do. You're
so
so
you gotta
sweet.
come out.
And your maple collection is going to be cool. You asked me about growing that one that you bought in a pot, and I told you it's a great idea, and it's going to look good. And
Well,
she's already got
we're
a
not
few.
forcing her to buy anything.
We're not. She can't help it.
You can come out here and just walk around and
Chat.
talk.
Yeah, it's good. Like we said, who said it the other day? I mean, I've heard it before, but we're cheaper than therapy. So you can just come out, take a stroll, talk to all of us, say hi, take a photo in the Halloween booth. You don't have to spend any money. Enter to win a gift card.
Yeah,
then you've got
and
money.
The session is never over.
Correct.
You
Exactly.
It ends when you want.
you need a touch-up session, just step out the back door and there it is.
And there it is.
Yeah.
Hey, we got some comments on YouTube pertaining to what's in bloom. Colin says, my daisies didn't bloom during the spring, but they are blooming now with a lot of question marks.
Colin, what kind of daisies, man? What are we talking about? We talking about Shasta daisy? Because that is really weird. I mean, my
is
Shasta
strange.
daisies are done blooming.
Mine
by
bloomed
far.
very late, but they're already done. But
Okay.
they bloomed late for this year.
Colin, I wonder if yours is in some shade, maybe? Maybe you got some shade going on. Tyler, you have a picture? Are you about to throw up hers?
No, do not
Tyler's
pay
doing work.
attention
I'm
to me.
sorry, Tyler.
All right, and then Gina also says, my Bates Nursery Vitex is still blooming. Mine has
Hey.
been shooting just like random blooms here
Oh
and
yeah,
there.
I got
Oh,
blooms
mine
all
is.
over the top
Yeah,
of my
mine is
Vitex.
too.
Do you?
Yeah.
I love that plant.
Vitex is great, and it does rebloom, especially if you're quick to cut.
That'd almost be a third round bloom.
I love
Almost,
it.
yeah.
I love it, but don't plant it next to a house. That's
Big.
that's what I did, and
Big.
I've got to get it out of there. So,
Oh, no.
It's starting to put its arm around your house, isn't it?
yes,
Giving your house a big old hug.
So that's funny you say that. My dad lives in East Texas. My real dad lives in East Texas, and he's got a Vitex that he put a little bit too close to his home. I think he would agree. And one winter, I went there for Christmas, and I pruned it for him. And I pruned it. I wasn't soft about that. I pruned it way back. And I remember afterwards,
he
he was
loves to
looking
do.
at me, and he was like, God dang, you took that thing way back. And I'm like, don't you worry.
Yeah, don't worry.
And it
Yeah.
was back and just as big within the next season, pretty
Yeah.
much. So
It's such a great plant. Hey, Colin says, I thought they were Shasta daisies. They are in full sun.
okay.
Colin, what's going on?
Man,
Did he maybe trim them
That's
especially
exactly
late?
what I was thinking. Maybe he ran over
Maybe.
with the lawnmower or the weed eater or something.
That happened in my house. Hey, Colin did send a bunch of photos from his garden. Let's go ahead and get that up while we're talking about Colin. So Colin says, hey there, Geo fam. Here are some before and after the final project. It's a lot. And Colin kind of goes over what he has. And look at all the
Yeah.
blue pots.
Wow.
Hey, Bates
From that
Nursery
to that.
Sales.
Somebody got a deal.
Colin,
Exactly.
buddy, you did work.
And then Colin does have a question. I have not put anything in ground yet. Do you all have any suggestions before?
Look at it, colors, textures, all of this. Before you ever start digging holes, do what Colin did. Set them out and look at it. And honestly, the design you've got going right now looks great, Colin. I mean, get you some earth mix for sure to have with you, and then start digging some holes and incorporating it with your native soil. And you're going to have a beautiful bed, man. That thing looks awesome.
Colin did say he got earthworm castings when we had our big sale.
Well, then
I
can't
did
go,
too.
Can't go wrong there.
Always
No,
good
you
to
can't.
incorporate that.
The gold.
It's awesome. Plus, you can switch out stuff.
Right.
If you get tired of something in a pot, you can switch it. Mm-hmm. And I know where you can get the stuff.
Yeah,
Do you know?
Do you know?
Kind of.
You get
Well,
the stuff.
we may all know about that place. It's called Bates Nursery and Garden Center, and it's where we are. We broadcast from the Green Room Studios live here from Bates Nursery. And matter of fact, we'll be open in about 20 minutes, so we invite you to come out and see us where we have an absolute, and I don't use this, try not to overuse the word plethora, but we have that going on right now.
Yeah.
Pretty much anything that you want in your landscape, tree, shrub, ground cover, ornamental grasses, by the way, for our Bates Rewards members, those are on sale for 30% off. And it's not just ornamental grasses that are 30% off, also bagged earth mix garden, 30% off. So you can come out and get both of those while you're here. We also have, we've had this auxiliary tree sale going on. We had some trees that weren't, they're past their prime. They're still very much alive. They're just not as wonderful as they once were. But neither is the price.
Reminds me of myself.
Well, at least 75% off. That's a no. And these trees, and I have that in common. They are also 75% off. Come prepared to haul them. Bring your truck, pick them out, take them home, and save big. There's still a really good selection of trees. If you're looking to kind of fill up an area, this is your chance to get to do that and do it on the cheap. So check it out over on the auxiliary tree lot. While you're here, we've already talked about pansies and violas and mums and all the other fall color items. In the perennial section, we've got wonderful shade and sun perennials both. We've got in Ryan's section in the Bastrium area. He's really got it. I mean, I almost ran into him this morning, literally, as I was coming through the door because he was working right there. He's constantly. He never stops. Nope. He's just the most methodical individual I think I've ever known. He's just always at it. So make sure you say hello. And he's been awarded by all of us as most popular at Bates because he's just a nice guy. You'll never meet a nicer person. So come out and see Ryan and all the rest of us here at Bates Nursery and Garden Center, where we have been beautifying Nashville since 1932. By the way, I've got this newsletter I write every week. Love to have you sign up for that. You can go to our website, batesnursery.com, where it says read all about it. You can just go there and sign up or
just scroll down too.
Scroll down the page.
Right below there. Boom.
There. Newsletter, sign up. Or if you come out and become a Bates Rewards member, you get signed up. But unlike many, we make it very easy to unsubscribe. We do not share your information with anyone. It is just you and us, and try to keep you apprised of the gardening things you need to be mindful of, and also seasonal specials we may have going on, and we do have those going on all the time right now. So check it out, batesnursery.com. Our entire inventory is searchable online, and I understand that Rachel and Mary and perhaps Tyler is helping with that. We're trying to get a better tutorial so people can have a more succinct way to search items. We're forced to kind of put things in there by their botanical names, and not everyone can spell Lysimachia. And I don't know that we even have any Lysimachia currently, probably not. But even if it's something that's less difficult to spell than that, it needs to be something that you need to get some things correct in order to get good results. So check that out over at batesnursery.com. Beautifying Nashville since 1932, Bates Nursery and Garden Center. We appreciate you giving us a minute to talk about that. There's my grandmother just passed by. And
hi, David. Whoa.
Ooh, there she goes. And we did actually, we made quite an attempt at getting our Ask Bessie function with AI. I just didn't like the results we were getting. It was not quite what I was hoping for, but as AI continues to improve, she may even talk to us one day. You never know.
Never know.
I don't know if I've got any recordings of her actual voice, but I'm sure that there's an AI somewhere that can come up with something.
Very close, I'm sure. Yeah.
So anyway, that's all we got there, and thanks again for giving us a minute to talk about that. Now, back to the program.
Here we go. Well, let's go ahead and talk about what we've got going on in this room.
How'd you like that?
Right on time.
So we went with all grasses today. As you can see, 30% off all of our ornamental grasses here at the nursery, which is a great deal. I mean, I love grasses. We all know Bridget loves grasses. Come talk to Bridget, get you some grasses. We have a lot right now, and it all looks fantastic. As you can see, this is just a very small sampling of what we do have in stock here at the nursery. Actually, we're going to start in the corners, Tyler.
Oops.
So, there we go. So right above my head here, we've got Miscanthus. Now, the tag says Little Zebra, but it looks very big.
Do we have any Mr. Canthus?
We don't have any Mr. Canthus.
I heard it too.
But we do have yet another Miscanthus right next to Little Zebra. So this one is really cool. You can, Tyler, go up. Right there.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, where did it go?
The slender one.
The slender one. So this looks a little more upright, but the blooms are like, in the sun, they're almost a magenta color. You remember, Austin, when we were bringing them in yesterday, and you were just like, this one is weird. And I was like, I don't know, it's pretty cool. It looks like fireworks. Like, this is a great grass. I don't have any Miscanthus at my house. Also maiden grass. So maybe I don't know, maybe I should take advantage of this sale.
Maybe.
Get me more grasses, more plants to go in. And then down below the TV, we had to bring in some switchgrass, of course, Austin's favorite. We've got Shenandoah. Look at that. Now, that's not his favorite switchgrass. Austin, what is your favorite switchgrass?
North Wind, by far.
North Wind.
And they're looking money right now at my house.
Yeah.
Are they? Mine have flopped, and I've had to hold them up and tie twine around them. So now they look very fall-like. They look like corn stalks, kind of, the way I have them tied up.
Yep.
Yeah, they do. And then in front, Tyler's got a remote. Oh, there we go. So we've got more shade-loving grasses.
Carex.
There we go.
Carex.
We've got Moonfalls is actually what this one is called. I thought
cool.
we had brought in a different
Featherfalls.
Featherfalls,
It
but I
looks
think
just
we
like it.
sold out of that.
Oh.
I believe. And then next to it, we've got Mondo grass that is back in Celeste's department. So she was like, oh my gosh, we've got so many grasses. They look so good. Why are people not buying them? They are a little tucked away. So if you're looking for smaller, very cheaply priced grasses that you can start small and let them spread out, let them grow up. I mean, go to that back wall.
Very manageable also. They don't grow out of bounds badly. They're
Mondo grass.
They stay
Very mindful,
in
very
control.
demure.
And Carex too, for that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great. Then we've got, excuse me, some sedges. We've got variegated and then a blue sedge. And these are trays of 32 grasses, y'all. So there are a lot of little plants in these trays that you can come take home to be your very own. Just imagine a field of this right here. Just a whole field.
A field of it.
A field of it, yeah. Just come get all those trays. Make Celeste day.
if you're out there mowing, it would probably cut your ankles a little bit if you
Yeah.
were wearing sandals or.
That's true. Well, you just don't ever go over there. Just look at it.
You
Just
don't have
admire
to.
it. Tyler is really. I wish y'all could see him. He's got this remote. He's really focused in.
He looks like a scientist.
Oh, and I don't remember this one. Oh, what was it? The little grass on the ground.
What are
Is
you?
it Carly
Who are you?
Is it Carly Rose?
I don't
or-
think it's Carly Rose.
Piglet.
Piglet.
How cute is that?
Austin, bring one up so we can see the fall color on this. So when we were selecting these, Austin was like, we've got to get these in here. So out on the lot again in the sun, it looks a little bit more red, like the tips of the grasses that are starting to go dormant for the winter. This one's so cute. And with a name like Piglet,
How could you not?
how could you not? And then let's go ahead and go over to our hot plate, our feature plant today.
Sorry, I'm still getting Piglet.
Oh, we're still getting Piglet. Now we're getting computer, coffee mug. And this is Rush, Big Twister. So look how cool this is. It's so full. Its growth habit is wild. I mean, it is all over the place.
Twisted.
I have planted this Juncus a couple times, and it lasts. I mean, it is a hardy plant. Hardy har. It got too big for the space, so I had to dig it up. And I will tell you, this was harder to dig up than the 8-foot limelight hydrangeas that I transplanted. Getting this out of the ground was much
And what's
harder.
also interesting is that what you cannot tell from viewing us on air is that as I look across at Caroline and Austin, I'm looking through that. So I've got this curly Q view of both of them.
Yeah.
And obviously they do of me as well.
Looking at each other through the grasses.
Well, I'm wondering, since you said that was the hardest thing, is it the hardest thing you've ever had to dig
It's
up?
the hardest thing I've ever had to do.
So what I'm saying is it a selling point or a cautionary tale?
Make sure you get it where you want it.
Exactly.
Okay,
Make sure you
okay.
get it where you want it. This actually, Austin is talking about using these in his mix containers because someone has not done their fall mix containers yet.
I haven't
Sorry
yet.
to call you out, but it's time for you to get those pansies in those pots.
I know. I just haven't done it yet, okay? But yes, you're right. Like, using that as my very first, like, either in the middle dead center of the pot or, like, towards the back of the pot. Like, it's an evergreen plant that's got twisted up foliage. Like, it's a great one to use for fall mix containers.
Yep.
And then in the spring, I'll have to get it out of there, and Caroline's telling me it's going to be super hard. So now I'm like, I don't even know if I want to use it. But yeah,
I mean,
It's going to be in a pot.
Yeah.
These were in ground for like 4 or 5 years.
Austin, when have
They
you
were there
ever
for
let
a long
somebody
time.
be like, no?
Yeah, what is happening
You're usually
to
like,
you?
I'm going to do it anyway.
yeah, well, you're right. I'm going to do it anyway. It's gonna
Yes,
be
you
great.
are. So let's go ahead and get to more questions because, y'all, we still have so many.
Let's get
We've
it.
got a couple questions about sedum, stone crop, about them dying in the center but still spreading and looking healthy. Someone is asking, is it normal? While someone else is asking, what can I do to get it to flush back out from the center? Cut it back.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, sedum does that. We even see that here at the nursery, the very dead center. Where a lot of times where you water, that can happen if you water in the center. That also happens with like dianthus. Like there's a number of things that happen. So try your best not to water on top of the foliage if you can help it. But even if you don't water on top of the foliage, a lot of times it'll spread out from that crown and it looks great around the edge and not so great around, in the middle. So like Caroline said, early spring, chop it all the way to the top, every single bit of it, and then you'll get a great reflush from that crown.
Yeah, my autumn fire is it's flopping a little bit because those do get pretty tall and heavy. Mm-hmm. But I just let them flop and I say it's going to be okay. I have a foxtail fern in a pot. How do I keep it alive through the winter and when can I split it? With foxtail ferns, I would suggest just bringing it inside and treating it like a houseplant. So just replicating.
Because it is.
Yes, it is. We do sell it in houseplants sometimes. So replicating where it was outside as much as you can. It should be actually pretty easy to take care of. It will shed a little bit, but not as much as Boston ferns. And then I would say the springtime would be the best time to split it. You'll probably want a Sawzall for that one.
As fern-type plants go, it really is a wonderful indoor plant. It survives much better than most. And we've had one for many years. It's a very interesting looking because it has those very thick foxtail-looking fronds on it. So but you need to have a pretty sunny spot for it so you can turn it and get some light all the way around it and, watch your water.
And funny enough, foxtail fern is not a fern at all.
Nope,
it's
not.
asparagus.
Asparagus, yep.
Isn't that fun?
It's so fun. Fun fact. And then while Tyler gets pictures all queued up and ready to go, let's get one more question in. Will Ito peonies do well in all-day southern sun with irrigation?
Yeah.
I would say unless they're getting too wet.
Yeah, unless they're getting too wet. The Itos are the hardiest peony, really.
Oh, for real.
There.
Yeah.
And I mean, irrigation's fine, but also can be bad for some things. Like most people, I've seen, old farmhouses that have had peonies in the yard for the past 30 years. They ain't been irrigated. They're right out there in the yard. Like, you don't want to keep them too wet. That's for sure.
People
and
feel
full
like
sun is fine.
People have paid large amounts of money for an irrigation system, and they feel obligated to use it.
Yes.
Often when it is the worst thing to do. So
yeah, seriously.
It's great for playing catch up and to be able to get big areas at one time, but you don't want to develop some kind of irregular pattern particularly when you're in areas where you've got tuberous type plants where overwatering can be a problem.
Exactly, and that's the biggest problem usually with those type plants.
I will say with my Itos, after they were established, so just I usually plant mine in the fall, I water them in, and then I really never water them again. I watered them once in 3 years, and that was this summer when I didn't get rain for like a month and a half out in Chapmansboro. I watered it once because it was starting to flag and look really, really sad, which has never happened. So that kind of goes to show how long they can stay dry. All right, so let's get to some photos. Our first photo comes from George, who is a podcast listener. This is a follow-up photo and question. Thank you for answering my tree question about my Meyer lemon. I played the episode for my son, age 11, in the car, and he was super impressed that my question was read on air. And he said he was going to tell all his school friends.
Aww.
And so he goes on to say that we mentioned sending a picture. So this was what we had talked about. He said he had it for almost 2 years. There hasn't been a lot of growth. This is new, I think, with spotted gray mold-like stuff and other pest issues on the leaves, which will stunt the growth. He's eliminated the issues, plant is pest-free, but he's wondering about pot size because we did talk about that. We had talked about how it might be in too large of a pot. And after looking at this photo, I would say you could size down. That pot does look a little bit large.
Definitely not up.
Definitely not up. If you're gonna size down, I would do it now. I wouldn't wait. I would get out there after the show's over, after you're done watching, and go ahead and put it in a new pot. It's still alive, so if you don't want to disturb the root system and just keep it in there, just keep fertilizing it, it'll fill those roots out and start to push new growth, I would say in the spring.
Watch the water.
Watch the water. I do find with my citrus, in particular at my house, I actually have to water them more once I bring them in the winter than any of my other houseplants. My Meyer lemon tree, I have to water every single day, just in the winter, not in the spring, not in the summer, not in the fall. It is crazy.
But honestly, man, that plant's not that bad. Like it was honestly okay. Like that's what we get with citrus around here. You know, where do they want to live? Florida, South Texas. Like so, being up here, like it's a little bit of a struggle, but you're not doing that bad.
Yeah,
like,
and if it's pest free, it's gonna be happy.
That's fine.
All right, so our next photo is Amsonia. This comes from Michael. These Amsonia.
That's how it goes with sun plants going in the shade. It doesn't kill them. It just makes them look different or do different things.
But those in the sun, they turn into like this huge shrub.
Oh yeah,
and already this time they're starting to like turn orange.
Shape.
Yeah.
So what do you think about it, just
them.
cutting them severe and letting them go one more year to see if they...
Yeah, you might see something better. I mean,
or it might be full enough where that it actually is a cool look.
It might be. Yeah, I mean, with the this year under its belt, and then next year's root system that's going to send out probably more stems, and it'd be more kind of shrubby-ish, if you will. It is early. You just did it, so you might be able to live with that, and they may just like kind of maybe flow into each other and like,
it's like a little waterfall.
Look at it, like
man.
It's not bad.
They look like waves.
It's just different.
Yeah, double the number you have planted. There you go.
Right.
There you go,
All right.
Tyler.
Make it a carpet.
Hot to get bigger.
This
Thanks.
first photo,
Love
you'll
your
hardly
show
see the dogwood.
from Joni.
Oh, I can see it.
Yeah,
It's
a dogwood.
It's it's a Cornus, Florida. It's just lived through a summer. It's I'm pretty sure there's that's anthracnose on the leaves there. It looks like
Very common.
Very common, especially with a straight species. So
yeah, a seedling.
You could leave it in the pot and let it root out more if you wanted to, or you could plant it. It's really up to you. Now, what I would do is this winter hit it with some dormant oil. Once the leaves have fallen, and get all those leaves out of there and bagged up and put in the trash or whatever. Yeah. So,
but honestly, really, it's got some tired leaves, but honestly. Not too bad for a dogwood. I mean, the topmost growth actually looks pretty good. It looks like that one leaf is about to throw some fall color for you around the edges. I've noticed.
The leaves are blushing on the top.
So honestly, you're doing pretty good too. Like this, it's been a stressful year for plants. It really has. So I mean,
we've had a lot of heat, a lot of dry, a lot of extreme conditions.
Yeah, a lot going on.
Having a dogwood that looks like that, like you're doing okay.
You're doing all right. We still got a couple more photos to get to. The next one comes from Kay. A few years ago, these asters began showing up in my garden, planted by bugs, bees, birds, and who knows. In an effort to control them somewhat, I have saved a few, and I inverted tomato cages, producing rather attractive fall displays. This is gorgeous. So
look at that.
Kay is just sending this because, wow, I love this flipped over tomato cage, and I have these blooming. There's a pasture right next to my house, and it's full of these right now.
And that's a much more economical grow-through device,
Yeah.
So, it's a great thought.
That's a great idea.
Hey, that
that
is
plant
fantastic.
looks great. And also, I noticed something I forgot that's in bloom to the left over there. You see that hyacinth bean growing up?
Oh, yeah.
What a beautiful plant. Good job with that,
on
too.
the lattice.
Hey, that all looks great.
I bet that's from seed, too. I bet it is. They grow that big from seed every year. That's a great plant, by the way, y'all. Purple foliage, soft, dainty pink blooms, like on top of that, like almost purplish pink. It's beautiful. Good work. Good work on both of it.
And a nice choice of paint color on the house.
Yes. Yeah. Beautiful. And then our last photo comes from Donna. Donna asks,
hey, Donna.
What is this tree?
Hey, that looks like a columnar hornbeam.
It is.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a hornbeam tree, and we sell those. What's that one we sell? Franz
Fontaine.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Fancy.
And just I think fastigata. I think there's just another variety.
Yeah, that's just and that just means a fancy word for upright. And that's a good plant, though. Very, very tolerant of like pollution.
Great street tree.
Yeah, exactly. It's great for that. It's good for a break, and some can be used in a formal setting too.
Sure.
I really like that tree.
Like a black tie dinner.
Yeah, that's right.
Very
baby.
formal.
Y'all, I did that so fast. I do want to go ahead and get a few more questions in because we have gotten some live questions. This one comes from Caitlin on Facebook. I'm planning on dividing my hellebore. When and how should I divide it? I mean, I would not. And they're also, they're going to bloom kind of soon compared to most things. So I wouldn't do it right now.
I don't think I would disturb that either. Caitlin, you may not get a bloom if you do that like this. If you just disturb it and move it and like it may be like, okay, I need to get my roots settled a little bit. So what you might do is let it bloom. And then, they bloom so early that right after that, we still have a period of what we would call almost dormancy, before they really start to crack new leaves.
You got at least the first half of March to be able to do it.
Yeah, you've got time.
And get your whole flower time out of them. And, take a really sharp spade or shovel and cut that thing into pieces and get it immediately back in the ground. Don't delay. That's the big problem that people have in transplanting is that taking a break in the mid-process.
Yes.
Don't do that.
Finish.
Don't do it.
And Caitlin, it is great to hear from you. Thank you for watching us.
Yes.
I love you, and I love your 2 daughters. They're the cutest little things.
And we
Oh.
are officially in overtime, so if we got any other questions?
Well, Tyler,
Overtime.
I think we're good. If you want to put, I mean, we have some
okay.
more
Well,
questions,
hey.
but they are questions that came in from Instagram. We will get
Okay.
to those in our stories.
Well, thanks to everyone for tuning in this week, and I'm guessing Mr. Carey will be back next week.
That's what I heard.
Adam, thanks once again for shifting chairs over from there to
pleasure.
here, and who knows if he'll be in a chair next week or not. You got to stay tuned for
I don't even know.
for every week to find that out. From all of us here at Bates Nursery and Garden Center and the Gardening Inside Out universe. Tune in again soon. Thanks for tuning in today. We'll see you next time.
Bye.